There's always work to be done on the farm.
Yeah.
And she's, this is our 8th load of this. And stacking up, storing up for the winter. And it's not easy work. And I was working along and I said, well, let me just get my phone and record this for my own memory, and maybe I'll show a few fig trees, which I will in a second. I've got a helper here, of course. Hi there.
Hello.
Hi there.
Hello.
So let me start the tractor up, and I just picked a few, and I thought of it too late. I picked a few black Madeira and some Italian 258 today, and a lot of other different figs. So I'm gonna do a little ride around, see what else I can dig up. There always is a lot of work to do. It never ends. But I enjoy staying active. I prefer it. I don't like just laying around all the time. I've been picking a lot of figs. Let's see here. I don't know if you can see these. This morning I picked about 4 or 5 off this tree. It's Malta Black. Just producing a lot of figs. I've been eating these different. Oh, I'm gonna run over my fig tree. Go this way. There we go. There's figs everywhere. We're getting towards the end now. There's a tree there, Ronde Bordeaux, that has been picked. There's no more fruit on it now. It's done for the season. It's been done for a week or so. And I still have some Celeste every day. I go out and get my breakfast, a bunch of figs. And maybe I'll get off the track here for a second. I'll just show you some. Here we go. Oh, wow. I picked quite a few today. There we go. And the rain is still spoiling some. This one there is spoiled. Go that away. But there's still plenty. Still plenty that are in good shape. I think, oh, I gotta make this smaller. Ah, good thing. Okay, there we go. Good. I picked a dozen or so off this Peter's honey this morning. I've been getting a lot. And they're good. They're very good. They're very sweet. They're very delicious. They got a distinctive flavor. I was just working in the garden, and it's a lot of work. I pulled a lot of weeds, and I'm going to be planting my winter crop of broccoli rabe and different types of lettuces. And also I'm planting some spinach and some other crops here. Of course, my favorite thing always has been and still is my figs. I have plenty of things to draw my energy from during the day. That one was delicious. That one was superb. I prepared my other garden as well for my winter crop or for my fall crop. And I still have some basil and things in here. And some mint. Some more eggplants too. Some more organic eggplants to pick. Plenty of them. And we put some in the freezer and stuff like that. Look at that. Oh, that's nice. They're nice. They're pretty. They're beautiful. I've got plants all over the yard. Figs. Here's a nice Italian 258. I should have taken this video this morning when I was eating so many of these. Beautiful, beautiful, and delicious. And I've been eating them every chance I get. Look at that. Gosh. I love this time of year. I love all summer. And I've been eating a lot of black Madeira. And they are absolutely delicious, as you know. And I've got plenty more getting ripe. As you can see them in there. And I ate a couple this morning. I eat a few every day. They're getting ripe really nice. I've got two plants of black Madeira, and this one's Preto, which I showed recently on a video. I'm still getting a lot of Smith. I'm getting them every day. Plenty of Smith here. I ate a bunch this morning. There's some ripe ones here now. Right there. Look at that. Smith. Oh my God, that's good. Smith is such a deserving of absolute recognition and credit fig. I'm going to save this for my wife. Maybe I'll bite into half of this. Look at that. Italian 258. Oh, the flavor in that. It's so delicious. It's a wonderful thing. This tree's so high, I can't even hardly reach from down here. The fig's getting ripe. So I just thought I'd do a quick update on what's going on over here. Look at that, spoiled fig. Look at that, completely spoiled. I even see some sour flies, which is very rare. It's been raining and gosh, I hate that rain. But most of the good varieties are doing really well. And there's still plenty of figs to eat every day. Okay. What a beautiful sight. There's another Italian 258 that's ready to gulp down. There we go. Look at that. Mm-hmm. I think I'll devour half of this one too. Mmm. Oh my God, that's so good. I should have taken this video earlier today. So now, let's see. Where are we going to go now? Persimmons will be ripening very, very shortly. And I look forward to that time of the year too. I've been eating a lot of pawpaw, and unfortunately I've not been able to keep after them. There's so many. The wind came along and blew these over. But there's still plenty. Plenty on the tree. And when they fall, they're not rotten. They're ready to eat. So, I love pawpaw. They're delicious. Pawpaw. Delicious fruit. I lost half this tree in the aftermath of the hurricane that came through here, the remnant. Let me turn this thing off. I lost half the tree. And there it is on the ground over there. It was loaded with fruit. But I think that this half is strong enough. I'm going to do some bracing. I've figured out a way to brace that just to make sure. But if it survived this long and all the wind and rain that we've had recently, I don't think it's going to fail me. And nature will take effect and will heal that wound, and it will grow over slowly. And there's enough wood there that I think that we'll be fine. And I won't lose this tree because it's very, very old and very productive. It's about 23 or 4 years. 23, probably 23 years old, I figure. Maybe 25. It takes so long for pawpaw to mature, to really grow to where they're very productive. And you can see it's pretty thin. I'm a little worried, but I figured out a way to brace it. And I'm going to brace it with a piece of metal and some clips, but those clips are going to have to be loosened during the growing season to allow for girth and growth. And this tree is in perfect condition. So fortunately I still have one, and I've grafted quite a few, about 5 different varieties on this tree and the other one too. So there's a whole variety because pawpaw are not self-fertile. You've got to have another variety to pollinate it. So I've got about 5 different varieties on both of these trees. And so even if I lost that tree entirely, and I would be very sad if I did, this one would still produce an abundance of fruit. And you can see in there's a lot of fruit. It's loaded. Okay. All right. Maybe I'll walk this out now instead of turning on the tractor again. The farmer will soon be harvesting the corn. I always love to watch the harvest because the corn has dried and it's ready. And I always love that time of the year, the harvest. And then all the geese will come flying in at nighttime, and they'll be picking up all the leftover corn that, from the harvest. Different animals will too. Even the deer come in. And here is the fig garden that I've displayed before. Still producing. Oh, I gotta make this smaller. Still producing figs all over the place. And they'll continue to get ripe until it gets too cold. Here I've harvested most of everything. They've been done for a while. There's still figs to get ripe on different varieties. But I've picked a lot of fruit from these trees already. And a lot of it was ruined by the rain. But again, a lot of it wasn't. And there's one that's not completely ruined. Good. Very good. And my yellow long neck is pretty much over. It's still producing, but pretty much over. And a lot of different varieties are in here. Many different varieties, and I won't go over them. But they're pretty much finished for the season. Bit sad, but I can take a break, to be honest with you. I'm ready for a rest. And I've been doing some work over here now on my potato bed. I've got to get these stumps out. I'm growing some late cucumbers, and I've got some extra mulberry trees, and they've got to be here. I'm stacking up the wood for the season for my wood stove. That's what I've been doing, and I still got some more to get, but this will last me two seasons when I'm finished, what I have already. And then I worked here today in my garden, preparing, and I took out a ton of weeds and everything, and some old plants, so that I can plant rows of broccoli rabe, and I like spinach, and I also like kale, and different types of romaine lettuce and iceberg lettuce. Here's some that I've started. And I've still got plenty of peppers, and I've got plenty of tomatoes too, but it's getting towards the end. There's a mixture in there of cherry tomatoes and regular tomatoes, and we still get plenty of tomatoes. We will for a while. And we still have plenty of peppers. I picked a whole bunch last night, and we had them for dinner. That was our dinner last night, fried peppers. A mixture of different types of peppers. And I keep the greens coming, and I keep the parsley and things growing. Okay. And the basil. And now I'll be planting my fall crop. So I guess that's all I really wanted to talk to you about today. A little update on the farm, I guess you could call it. Always working, always keeping busy. I don't think I'm looking for sympathy, but if you give me a little, I'll take it. Those stumps for an older guy aren't so easy to remove, but I'll get them out because I'm stubborn and I don't give up. And I'm not 30 anymore, but I act like I'm 30, and I can do everything that I did when I was 30. Fortunately, maybe because I keep so active, and I feel real good. And I'm showing you the reason why I feel good, because I keep active, and I grow everything organically, and I keep a positive attitude about my life. I try to make sure that I'm in a survival mode all the time, meaning that I don't want to rely entirely on society. I've got a heater, I've got an oil heater, but hey, what if the heat goes out? What if society, maybe takes a downturn, or the stock market crashes, or maybe there's a rebellion because of the election coming up? Who knows what could happen? Or disruption in their social services. It's nice to have a wood stove so that you can cook your own food and boil your own water and keep warm in your house, with or without electric. And I've got lanterns, and I've got everything for survival. And I think it's important that, especially in this day and age, that we think along those lines. Personally, I really do. And so I've always felt that way ever since I actually came back from teaching as a young man, as teaching the Eskimos in Alaska. And I taught the Eskimos in a very remote village. And it was an incredible experience. And I went hunting with the Eskimos, and I went fishing out in the river and caught giant salmon, different species of salmon, and different types of northern fish. And we made agudak, Eskimo ice cream, and sometimes I took the kids and I told them, we're not having school today. You could get away with that in those days, especially in an Eskimo village. I said, we're all going to go berry picking today. So we went out in the hills and we picked blueberries and salmon berries and watermelon berries, and we came back. Of course, the parents were 100%, sort of like a field trip, you might say, at a certain time of the year when all the berries are getting ripe. And the Eskimo children, and I taught 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. It was combined classes because it was not a huge Eskimo village. So I had 3 grades combined, and I loved them all. They were just so curious and so very bright people, very bright. The children are just incredible. And we would make agudak, which was a Eskimo ice cream. That's how they pronounced it. And then they were, I don't know how I got off on the Eskimo kick, but I think it relates to my ideas about self-reliance and wood stoves. We had all that. And that's where I took it back with me. These ideas about self-reliance, a lot of it. And eating off the land and knowing how to hunt and get berries and cut my own wood. And, burn my own wood and have some independence and not be completely entirely dependent on social services in case there's some kind of a breakdown. But getting back to the Eskimos very quickly, and then I'll drop the subject and turn off this video. We would have those little celebrations and things, and that Eskimo ice cream was delicious. It was a treat the way it was made. And we'd go ice fishing too for different types of fish, and it just became incorporated into my mind. The Eskimo language was very interesting. I learned a little bit of it while I was there, and they were the Yupik Eskimo. We were 400 miles from the nearest road, and we had to fly over the Alaska Range Mountains to get to this Eskimo village. And it was extremely remote, and we had the Alaska Ranges where you would also see Mount McKinley, the tallest mountain in North America. So we could see that in the distance. And the Eskimo language was Yupik, and the way it was, like, I'll give you like a name of an Eskimo child. Here's one that I remember, a female, 8th grader. Her name was Thakla Takumjanak. Very, very guttural language, very interesting language. And I learned so much about ourselves from these Eskimo people. I learned so much. I learned to look at nature in a completely different way. And I learned a lot about our own heritage and about the world, worldly things. Believe it or not, in a little isolated Eskimo village, I learned a perspective that I don't think that I would have ever acquired had I not had those experiences. Okay, I'll turn it off. Thank you for your visit. Good day.